Hello everyone, we are back with more Shining Beyond content, and today we're going to be going over the stat screen. Sure, the game has a few explanations of what everything does, but they don't explain to you all details about what does what, how is it affected, how does this thing affect that other thing, what is the maximum that you should aim for, like at what point does having more of the same stat no longer means anything. And we're going to be going all over that and explaining that to you so that you can make the best of your gear and min-max your hero. Okay, let's go right over to the stat screen. And here we are. The first few things, really basic. We all know what battle power is. Looks cool, doesn't actually do anything. Attack, defense, and a HP. Now speed will actually affect how fast you move and how fast you attack, which for example an archer attacks every 1.5 seconds. This, depending on the speed, it'll increase that. I don't know exactly by how much, I really haven't noticed. On the offense stat, we have skill effect, skill critical percentage, and critical damage. Now the skill effect, we're going to be coming back to that one because there's a lot of information there. I've said this many times before. Skill effect, super important. Don't ignore it. Raise it. And I keep seeing players that have well over 300,000 power, battle power, and they still have no skill effect. I've seen people with like 5% skill effect. Skill effect, you want to have as much as possible. Every piece of gear should have skill effect. We're going to get back to that one. Let's go ahead and skip it for now. Skill critical. Only 100%. You only need 100% skill critical. What skill critical does is in fact exactly what it says. It will increase the chance for you to deal critical strikes with your skills, and you only need 100%. Crit percentage, you only need 100%. Anything above 100% for both skill critical and crit percentage will not do absolutely anything for you. There is no counter to crit chance, so if you increase it at 100%, you're not doing anything with that. You're just throwing away stats. Right now, you can see that I have 111% skill critical. That's because I cannot remove skill critical from any of my pieces without bringing it below 100%, so I'm waiting until I tier up some of my pieces so that I can get more skill critical and then remove it from one of them. Critical damage, you want as much as you can have. There is no cap at the moment for that other than the maximum that you can achieve, which would be having all 6 pieces with 18.2%, which is tier 5, which is the maximum right now. So critical damage, get as much as you can possibly get between your job levels and your gear. Now defense, we have block chance. Block chance maxes out at 100%. After 100%, block chance will not do absolutely anything for you. So as soon as your tank, for example, it gets to 100% block, that's it. There's no counter for that, guy. So you do not have to take it past 100%. Block amount, it maxes out right around 92%, I believe, for the warriors when they're all leveled up and they have all of their job levels from. What is the name of this thing? I keep forgetting the name of this skill that the paladins have, or the tanking classes have. All of them, Defender, Dark Templar, and Paladin will all have it. Fortitude? Yes, Fortitude. It gives you block amount. Once you max that out to level 30, you will have a maximum of 92% block amount, which means that when you block an attack, you will block up to 92% of the damage taken. Now, deflections maxes out at 100%. After 100%, it does nothing for you. Deflect amount is the amount of damage that you will deflect when you get hit. Because what deflect does is that when you take a hit and deflect it, it will reflect some of the damage taken back to the attacker. But the deflect is actually one of the worst stats in the game right now. It does barely nothing. Even if you get hit for like 100,000 damage, for some reason it only seems to counter back almost nothing, and it can be dodged. So it's really bad. Your deflect can be dodged and it can be blocked. So it's not a very good stat. If you have a tank, sure, max it out. It's cool, you know, you're a tank already. But other than that, I wouldn't suggest worrying about deflect. It is such a bad stat. That takes us to breaker limit, another stat that doesn't seem to be doing absolutely anything. Breaker limit is essentially a bar that you're supposed to get stunned whenever the breaker limit is reached, but it doesn't actually seem to have any effect. Every time, you know, whether it's PvP or PvE, there's no break bar, and it doesn't matter how hard I get hit, I don't seem to be getting stunned by the break limit at all. You will see the breaker limit on bosses, for example. It's going to be shown as a red bar, I believe, right below their health bar. And when you max out the red bar, they get stunned. That is what a breaker limit is, but I don't see my characters being stunned at all. And when it comes down to it in PvP, when you're gonna get killed, you're gonna probably get one shot. So I don't even know if that's actually having any effect on your own characters. You have it, but you don't really seem to be getting stunned by it. Now, dodge chance, only 100%, guys. If you go above 100% dodge chance, you're not gonna be getting anything from it. There's no counter to that. Now, how do you get hit if you have 100% dodge? Well, dodge chance actually has a cooldown, a 1.5 seconds cooldown. So does block chance, and so does deflect chance. They all have a cooldown. Now, I don't know the exact amount of the cooldown on block chance or deflect chance. And on dodge chance, I do believe it's 1.5. It might be 2 seconds. I believe it's 1.5, and I'm gonna assume that the block chance and the deflect chance have the same cooldown duration. Now, skill defense does exactly what you would expect. Any skill that hits you with a solid hit will be reduced by skill defense. For whatever reason, poison seems to be affected by regular defense and regular defense reductions. But any hit, like for example out of Arcane Reckoning, 2 missiles, 90% of heroes attack, that will be blocked by your skill defense. And we're back to skill effect. Guys, skill effect is as important to you as your attack or your crit chance or your crit damage. Do not ignore it. Even if all you're doing is basic attacks, just because you're using a Shizu, just doing normal attacks all the time, or you're using a Mei Fang, that does not mean you can ignore your skill effect. And we're going to be watching a video that I prepared ahead of time so that we can see the changes that skill effect can have on our damage. Alright, so what I did here was, I went into the Daily Vault level 12 dungeon, or floor 12 if you will, and with my Artemis to test how much damage I was doing with a certain amount of stats, and then increasing my skill effect by a little bit, and at the same time lower my skill critical, so that because I was testing both, I wanted to check to verify that the maximum skill critical needed was 100%, which is something that I also tested for all of us before I set this up. So yes, indeed, skill critical maxes out at 100%. And skill effect, as you guys can see, I have 122.60%. Let's go ahead. Oh, and very important as well, my attack 28,803. You guys can see that my normal attack right here is 97,918. Let's just let this go through. Now here, I'm gonna pause this real quick. You guys can see that it showed defense down, poison, attack up. Those are all the skills on the right, both of the skills on the right side that are taking effect: Shatter Vengeance and Wind Step. Now, this is an attack buff, 2 attack buffs at the same time, and a defense reduction, right? Now, this is how much that changed my normal attack. That 270,899 damage is actually my normal attack. The one that was just doing 97,000, it is now doing 270,000 with both of those attack buffs. Now, you're probably wondering, but Prox, that's only 37% attack. How did the damage go all the way up to 270,000? That's because the skill effect is in fact affecting the attack buffs and the defense reduction, so that your damage is being absolutely insane. That is another thing that you gotta understand. Skill effect affects everything about all of your skills, buffs and debuffs as well. Now you can see the poison right behind it, 383,648. That is straight up poison damage, guys. You can see how it ticked after the enemy was already dead. Alright, here we are coming back to do the same test, except this time we have another plus 24 attack and plus 15.2% skill effect. Let's see how it turns out. Now, you can see that the skill effect is not actually having any effect on my normal attack, and it's up to 98,000 because of the 24 attack and nothing else. But there's going to be a difference when we go into the skill. Now, we have Shatter Vengeance and Wind Step once again taking effect, and that increased the attack of the normal attack to 289,733, which is somewhere around what 19,000, I believe. And that is because the attack buffs and the defense reduction are being affected by the 15.2% skill effect, which is a huge increase in damage for just 15%. And you can see the poison damage in the back is at 438,340, which is a pretty big increase compared to minus 15.2% skill effect. And that's how you can see how much the skill effect is affecting your damage. Most of that damage that you see me doing on the screen is coming just out of that 137.8% skill effect. Now, I also prepared one here with her unique skill. Oh, you can see there, it was doing 18,833 more normal attack and 54,000 more poison damage just from 15% skill effect. That's how much your damage is affected by skill effect, guys. You have to get that skill effect on every single piece of gear. Now, here we can see her unique skill with Blessed Face. Now, why do I have Blessed Face? Because I actually turned, once my Artemis got to 9 stars, I actually turned her into a, what do you call it, a shaman? Not because I thought it was going to be really good or anything like that. It's because that is the job relics that I had to get her to level 12 really fast. So I was like, you know, just go ahead and make her a shaman. That way I can get her to level 12 really quick and I'll get more stats than if I turn her into an arcane buster or an elementalist that was only going to be level 9 because I didn't have those other job relics. Now let's go ahead and watch that. Okay, we got 2.4 million damage with each projectile. Now, we're gonna be swapping over after the changes with the 24 attack and the 15.2% skill effect. Let's see how much that affects our skill, the unique skill damage. That was 2.6 million. Let me go back on that real quick. That's almost 2.7 million damage dealt after the tiny change, which was a total of 268,823 damage increase just from 24 attack and, most important of all, 15.2% skill effect. It increased our damage by that much. So imagine if I didn't have that 137.80% skill effect. How much damage do you think I would be doing? Almost nothing compared to 2.7 million damage right there. So guys, once again, make sure that you increase your skill effect. It is far too important. That is one of your main damage stats. Alright guys, that's going to be all for us today. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the video. If you have any more questions about the stats, about how to build a character, go ahead and leave a question down in the comments. I will be making future videos on specific classes and how to best build them, which jobs to choose and everything. So do look forward to those, and I hope to see you guys in the comments. Love you all and see you in the next video.